What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Rap, Hip Hop, and Freedom, a midweek show for the Humanity Matters. I'm your host, Dr. Philip Fletcher, as we are going to dig into our second artist of the week, being J.Cole. And so glad that you're able to join me. Hey, as always, find ways to connect with me. I look forward to hearing from you in a host of different ways. And so, whether that's on YouTube through Humanity Matters or at Twitter at Phil Fletcher, find my website, philipfletcher.org. That's with two L's. Or go over to any of the podcast outlets that you have and subscribe. Give me a review. I would greatly appreciate it, and always, if you want to participate in the mailbag, Humanity Matters Podcast at gmail.com. That's Humanity Matters Podcast at gmail.com. And hey, you can participate in the mailbag that happens on our Sunday night show at 7 p.m. And so 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So send an email. I love questions, whatever the topic, like dig in, be challenged, all that great stuff. So hit me up on an email. Would love to see what you've got going on. And so today we are going to be looking at our friend J. Cole and his title track, Brackets. J. Cole and his title track, Brackets. That was released on the album KOD. All right. A lot of great tracks, a lot of great insight from that album, KOD. So I encourage you to check it out. But specifically, we're going to be looking at his song Brackets. All right. Now, there's me going through the track. I've identified three parts. All right. Now, he's talking about taxes. Okay. Now, taxes is those things that are taken out of our check. And as well, when you go to buy pretty much anything, you're putting something extra on top of that retail price. All right. And so taxes are added onto that. Now, taxes happen at the local level, they happen at the county level, they happen at the state level, and they happen at the federal level as well. So in this track called Brackets, I identified three parts for your consideration. So the coercive nature of taxes. All right. Second, control and outcomes. All right. Regarding taxes. And then what the coercion offers in return. Well, Philip, why do you keep using the word coercion? Right. Well, because the government has the legal right, okay, to take your money. What? Yes. Now, we're going to get to this guy named Bastiat, and he describes this as legal plunder. Legal plunder. All right. So let me ask you some questions just to get us in the frame of mind this next 30 minutes. So I want you to consider, first of all, when you look at your paycheck, do you understand what happens with those deductions? Right? So you get old school paper check, or you get a pay stub that is emailed to you because you got direct deposit, or you get a pay on a card, right? Do you understand those deductions and where they're going? Second, have you asked yourself, why do I go into Come and Go? I live in Arkansas, or any gas station, 7-Eleven if you live on the West Coast, right? You go to Come and Go and you get a slushie for 99 cents, and you actually walk out paying like $8, $9, $19, depending on what locale you live in. But I thought it was 99 cents. What happened? Well, that's taxes. Who pays for schools, for roads? Who gets a grift, right? These taxes, again, where's this money going? And is anybody getting getting an advantage off of the hard work that you do and the money associated with that hard work. Then, who can best determine how your money can be spent? Who can best determine that? So, J. Cole, again, it's three parts to this, and I just wanted to highlight some specific aspects of part one, part two, part three. And so he opens up, it kind of, when you listen to the song, it opens up kind of with a discussion between a father and a son, right? And then it talks about this fictional character gets a call from Uncle Sam, right? And Uncle Sam wants half. And the fictional character responds with some colorful language. But in the first part of J. Cole's song, he says this, I quote, "I pay taxes, so much taxes, shit don't make sense. Where do my dollars go? You see, lately, I ain't been convinced." Close quote. Right? So the critique is there. Remember, go back to my previous videos. Rap, hip hop offers a critique, right, of what's going on in life, right? Acts prophetically. J. Cole is like, I pay taxes. That's a reality. A lot of taxes, right? And it doesn't make sense, he says. And then he's asking, so where's it going, right? And so then he goes through a litany of, roads and schools, right? He looks at the situation of public education, all right? And how the public education is not really reflecting and supporting those who are paying those taxes. It's skewed to a particular group of people, all right? In the second part of this, control and outcomes, he again opens up now who's getting the money, right? Well, he says this, I write a check, and this is a quote, I write a check to the IRS. My pockets get slim, all right? So they're fat at one point because he's writing a check to the IRS April 15th, traditionally. I know it's been extended this year, but traditionally April 15th, got to cut a check to the IRS. And then also to your state government as well if you got to owe them money. And he says, my pockets are getting slim. They ain't fat, right? And he says, damn, do I even have a say about where it's going? Close quote. So J. Cole is again asking these probing questions about distribution. Like, where is it going? All right. So he goes on to say he has a critique about democracy. He thinks it's too slow. Now, I'm like, ooh, what's the alternative, J. Cole? But nonetheless, he says, better yet, and I quote, better yet, let me decide. B, it's 2018. Let me pick the things I'm funding from an app on my screen. Close quote. So J. Cole offers a solution. Here's a better way for us to track how our money is being spent, and we retain the freedom to determine where these dollars are going. Let me pick an app. Let me pick the funding from an app on my screen. All right. So part three, what coercion gives in return. Okay. Now he returns back to the lived experience of everyday people. Right. And one of the lived experiences that he hits on is as a young boy who was killed by a stray bullet. Right. And a mother has to grieve. Right? He is killed by a stray bullet. He has another brother who is basically promiscuous, sleeping around. He's got babies, right? But he still stays at home. And the mama's got to carry this burden. The mama's got to go to a funeral, right? She's crying. And he says this, on the morning of the funeral, I quote, on the morning of the funeral, just as she's walking out, wiping tears away, grabbing her keys and sunglasses, she remembered that she got to file her taxes. Damn. Close quote. So, J. Cole's got these probing questions about tax distribution. Well, he's paying too much in taxes. He's saying, my pockets are getting slim. He's questioning where it's going. All right? Twice he's done that. He offers a solution, which is called voluntary taxes, right? I get to select where my tax money goes to. And we can use the brilliance of 21st century technology. And he concludes with the societal impact of taxes not being used appropriately. All right. So J. Cole is asking legitimate questions, interrogating the rationale and the distribution of taxes, as well as how much human agency or how much influence he has with the money that he's earned. Now, here's a truth. All right. So check this out, men and women. The government has no money other than what it can take from you. Let me tell you that again. The government has no money. Now, I got it. They can print money, but that's like just printing paper. The fact of the matter is, the government has no money other than what it can take from you. So, cutting hair, braiding hair, making music, playing ball, or even if you aspire to be a YouTube sensation, the government is coming to take a good portion of your money. Nobody's exempt. Now, J. Cole is looking at income. So that's money earned. All right. So your gross deductions, that's your net. That's actually what you take home. But the difference between gross and net is a combination of taxes. If you've got retirement type stuff, you know, those kind of things. But you're going to have taxes taken out, federal and state. Now, but there's also taxes that happen on your net. That's the money you take home. So when you want to go to the store, when you want to shop on Amazon, when you want to buy a new pair of J's or, you know, some red bottoms and get that new purse or go on a trip, something like that, that is getting taxed as well. So not only does the government tax your income, it's also taxing the money that you're spending on a daily basis. All right. So in part two, he's not critiquing capitalism. All right. So part of part two, he hits hard on how tax dollars that he says this, and I quote, better that than letting whack congressmen I've never seen dictate where my money goes straight to the palms of some money hungry company that makes guns that circulate the country. Close quote. All right. So he's giving a critique about gun manufacturers and how companies, corporations benefit by getting the money that we earn, and it's shifted, right, to that particular group of people, right? Those particular entities. Now, here's the thing, though. It happens on the left and the right. The left and the right use our tax dollars, and they shift it to corporations, Wall Street, so on and so forth. So we're doing a lot of the work. They take our money, they give them a huge bag, and we get a little bit. And again, J. Cole is like, hey, I got a better way. Let us determine by using an app where our money goes. That's called tightening the belt. You know what I'm saying? So let's be specific here. There's nothing abhorrent or immoral with a company keeping what it earns. Just like it's not abhorrent or immoral for you to keep all that you earn. It's not. It's a whole other matter. It's a hustle when one group of people or an entity is prejudiced for a benefit against another group of people who don't get the benefit, but who have to put in the work that produces the money, and they don't get all that money. Right? So, yeah. In the deep, when we get deep, J. Cole is asking, why aren't these dollars helping where I live? That's that third part, right? Talking about the mother and the shooting and the son who has babies running around, but he's still sleeping on her couch, right? So he critiques the violence in the streets. We could be using that money better to fund different types of community groups or open more of our own businesses, right? To put people to work. By putting people to work, it keeps them busy, reducing the violence, right? We could use that money as well to open different types of schools. That's one of the things that J. Cole critiques as well. The burden of taxes don't stop because you have family problems. Remember what he said. That mother, tears in her face. She's got to grab her keys and her sunglasses. She's still got to file her taxes. The government is still coming for your dollars. It doesn't matter what you're going through. Doesn't matter what you're going through. So there's this guy named Fredric Bastiat, all right? And he describes taxation as legal plunder. Legal plunder is when the government uses its powers to prevent competition, creates obstacles for trade, therefore, and I quote from Bastiat, therefore to steal the wealth of one's neighbor, close quote. And this is from his phenomenal text called The Law. I encourage you to get it. Legal plunder can come in the form of, quote, tariffs, benefits, subsidies, progressive taxation, public schools, minimum wage. All of these plans as a whole, with their common aim of legal plunder, constitute socialism, close quote from Bastiat. It's a redistribution, all right? So J.Cole's frustration with the schools, he observes, are a product of this legal plunder from his own money, which is producing an education system which does not represent what he sees as important. So on education, Bastiat said this. Now, listen to this. Quote, the law extends over a society where some persons have knowledge and others do not. The law has only two forces. Human wills in this matter, by taking from some of them enough to pay the teachers who are appointed by government to instruct others, close quote. Again, J. Cole sees the problem, right, in his line, and he said this, quote, the taxes get spent hiring some teachers that don't look like them, the students, and the curriculum being tricking them dollars I spend, close quote. So if Bastiat were on this track with J. Cole, I think these would be some fitting verses. And so Bastiat closes the law with this, and I quote, God has given to men all that is necessary for them to accomplish their destinies. He has provided a social form as well as a human form. And these social organs of persons are so constituted that they will develop themselves harmoniously in the clean air of liberty. Away then with the quacks and organizers, away with their rings, chains, hooks, and pincers. Away with their artificial systems, away with the whims of governmental administrators, their socialized projects, their centralization, their tariffs, their government schools, their state religions, their free credit, their bank monopolies, their regulations, their restrictions, their equalization by taxation, and their pious moralizations. And now that the legislators and the do-gooders have so futilely inflicted so many systems upon society, here J. Cole, may they finally, and where they should have begun, may they reject all systems and try liberty. For liberty is an acknowledgement of faith in God and his works. Close quote. J. Cole's frustration with taxation and the associated outcomes echoes those of Fredric Bastiat's. So what? So where do we go from here, right? I'm all about the so what. So this is what I want to leave you with, okay? J. Cole provides a critique of how governments plunders, all right? They plunder his money and ineffectively use that money. J. Cole powerfully states greater freedom should rest in the hands of the people who actually pay these taxes, and these people, not congressmen or women, can determine how it's allocated. The people can determine better how it's allocated. J. Cole offers a very such solution which is more democratic and specialized, expanding freedom and opportunity. The app, that's a great idea. You can choose where your taxes go. So what could be the outcomes? Complete freedom to spend your dollars as you see fit, an opportunity to fund those programs which align with your beliefs, all right? It will expose what is actually needed in a specific area, and it will close down other programs, so tax dollars ain't wasted. The trade-off is the reduction of national-type programs, because there's always a trade-off. All right? Think about this for a moment. J. Cole and Bastiat are separated by hundreds of years, but they both recognize government will move toward a hustle, a sort of mischief, using taxation as a means to rule over the people. Hey, so that's J. Cole and Bastiat. Hope you learned something about taxation, about legal plunder. Hey, again, if you want to connect with me, I would just encourage you to visit any of my locales, YouTube, subscribe over there, Twitter at Phil Fletcher, my website, philipfletcher.org, and any podcast outlets. You can go find the Humanity Matters podcast. I would graciously appreciate a review, comment. As always, you can send an email to humanitymatterspodcast@gmail.com, humanitymatterspodcast@gmail.com, right? So, coming up next week, we are going to be looking at Fight the Power. Public Enemy. Yes. Public Enemy. Fight the Power. Love them growing up in the 80s. So, hey, I appreciate y'all very much. Appreciate the time to be able to spend with you. And we look forward to joining you again.